were you up today, punk? I'll tell you what we were doing, punk. We were at Cyberpunk.
Stop it. Get some help. Take that jacket off, Sam. You look ridiculous.
This is a Cyberpunk. Let me just see if I can turn around with my lapel on. Cyberpunk 2077, people. We were there. It was absolutely.
This is what happens when you turn it inside out, by the way.
Yeah, there's 2 areas of it. Yet again, they're doing awesome merch. When we went there last year, they gave us this really cool statue that I broke when I fucking was getting it back here. But anyway, yet again, it was the epicenter of E3. Everyone was just it was the mecca of fucking E3, man.
I bumped into actually Destiny 2's creative director and Bungie's general manager. They were outside trying to like get an appointment.
Oh, let me guess.
And I'm like, come in, boys. Come in, boys.
They could have
Let me
easily
introduce
got
you.
an appointment.
I'm like, you want to get these boys in? Don't worry. And they're like, thank you, Skilla.
Oh, yet again.
Thank you.
I think every time we're doing a video now, Ralph's either saying that he did a tweet that made a game, or fucking he's
right.
you know moving the sands
still
of time.
I still want my royalties, Ubisoft. That was my game. Anyway,
let's drop this shit and let's talk about Cyberpunk because we went in behind closed doors and saw this shit. It looks fucking incredible.
Check this out.
So this is the second proper gameplay demonstration we've seen of Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
The first one was shown at E3 last year, behind closed doors. Only journalists got to see it, games media, YouTubers, etc.
Yeah.
And then that was released later on at Gamescom. And so people saw it, like journalists saw it again, but then they released it to the public. Slightly different than what we saw at back at E3. They made a few changes. They changed the gender of the character, a few choices, a few weapons, whatever else.
Sure.
But it was essentially the same piece of gameplay, just played again for a larger audience, okay?
Yep.
This is an entirely new slab of gameplay.
And a different way in which what they want to say in this. And the way that this wasn't such a flashy thing, it was more like, let's show you under the hood. Let's talk about, you know, the RPG elements. Let's talk about the actual
customization.
Design, how you walk through the world, how you interact with characters, and all this kind of stuff. So it was different. The first trailer for me was like, whoa, this is really exciting and crazy and very, you know, always throwing really exciting moments at you. Where this was like, let's just show you how you exist in the world, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of the world, like we really have to say, the first time that I saw the world of Cyberpunk, I was like, that's the best open world looking game I've ever seen in terms of like visual design and density and texture detail and all of it, right? And I was like, okay, was this just this one little area that they've shown me? And that was the best part they've showed it to, it's not really that good. But we've now seen another area, and this area is even more impressive.
Yeah, I think what you said was so true before. I'm going to take this as my own point, of course. It's the most lived-in open world that you've ever seen.
I mean, the demo begins by you sort of stepping out into this area, which is an old rundown development district on kind of like a seaboard. So imagine something like, I don't know, like
Florida or like, not Florida, like what's that place?
Jersey, like imagine like the Jersey Shore, right?
Yeah.
But except instead
like Vice City.
Vice City, actually, yes. Imagine Vice City.
Yes.
Except they abandoned development of it halfway through, so it's kind of like been taken over by squatters and the like. Now it's been settled, but it's basically this half-built world. And you know, just the number of NPCs that are walking around at any one point in time is crazy. How detailed each of them are is crazy.
And look, I know this is probably still a curated experience that they want us to have. I just hope that they also deliver on that in the full game. But I just feel like CD Projekt Red, like, if they're going to be showing this, they have a very good intention to make sure that that's also
well, look,
in the
there
game.
were Witcher 3 downgrades, let's not forget that. So things happen, right? It's a reality. Even CD Projekt Red is not perfect, believe it or not.
I don't know, man.
But look, you know, we saw it run on what I'm guessing is PC hardware. It was running very smooth, actually. And just things like, as I said, particle density, environmental details, draw distances. I mean, the draw distances were next level. You look out at these city skyboxes, and they are incredible. Like, it just, honestly, as I said, I've never seen an open world that is as ambitious as what CD Projekt Red has put together here.
Yeah, and thorough. Like, there's such a thoroughness to it. Every time you're looking something like, there's something so deliberate about every corner of this place. And again, look, it's the trailer, it looks very curated, of course, but I feel like that is their main intention, that everywhere you look, there is something that's telling you about this world, and it's working so well.
Yeah.
You know, but the first thing I want to talk about is the weapon mechanics, right? So there was a moment where you jump into combat, and that was the first thing that struck me, that I was like, oh, okay, it didn't really look incredible to me. That was the only thing that I want to say negative about it. When I saw the weapon mechanics, I was like, okay, that's the only thing I can say.
I think it's hard to ever say the weapon mechanics are incredible until you play them. Like, you can look at Doom footage.
You can look at many games and go, okay, I can kind of see and sense those weapon mechanics. That's the only thing I saw. I was like, okay, I'm curious to see when I play this game if I'm actually proven wrong. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I would say it's too early to be able to say whether or not one way or the other what they're like. From the surface, they look fine to me. Some of the melee stuff, there was some melee stuff in this which looked a little bit spammy. Because at one point you actually pick up a broken bottle and you start like kind of stabbing someone with it, and it seemed just a little bit jank, right? It wasn't the same level of like perfection that the rest of the demo was.
Sure.
But look, that's such a minor nitpick that it's not even worth it, you know, like
definitely,
it doesn't even matter.
Definitely, but I would say that it's not even worth it, you're right, but you know, if weapon mechanics or combat, of course, is a huge part of the game. So when I saw that, I thought, well, I'm going to be doing a lot of that in the game. That could be something that I'm just curious about.
The real focus of this was more on the RPG, the decision making, and the different paths that you can go throughout a mission. So this was actually set. You know, you had to go and sort of like retrieve something, right? That essentially was the mission, and they were showing you the two ways you could do it. And they were actually switching between two different builds of the game, right? So you can't switch characters or builds on the fly normally, but for the purpose of this demonstration, they were going through with the hacker person, you know, someone that could hack terminals and hack other people really easily. Yeah. And then they would they'd switch over to the sort of more like melee-focused class, which is just all like whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Bruiser, they punch everything, they're really strong. So, you know, the hacking class seems really fascinating because obviously there's a strong focus on stealth with that class because they're not as like combat ready, you know what I mean?
It looks like they put a lot of effort and time and choices into that too. It doesn't look like you can just kind of always walk behind an enemy and like silence them. It was very much like you can, you know, disable technology, you can kind of hack into the actual enemies themselves. Like, it looked like it was a very thorough thing that they've gone into, you know? So that was very
the way the hacking works actually is that the more successful you are, the more sort of like hacks or viruses or programs you're able to upload to whatever it is you've hacked. And so, for example, you can hack another enemy. And if you hack successfully enough, you can actually hack to the point where you've also hacked into their squad mates as well, which is just obviously pretty crazy.
Sure.
We did meet a new enemy faction in this as well. We met the sort of like weird robot people last time. They kind of worship technology and they're nuts. These guys are just like roid monsters. They're just all about the juice, just constantly just like, you know, on it. Never skipping leg day, and you know, so they're all about just getting up in your face and a lot of melee combat.
Sure.
And they're really cool because they can actually like move lightning fast because they've got all this like these special drugs or whatever that they're on, and you see them like kind of duck and weave like 1, 2, 3, and then they're in your face immediately. So lightning fast. And they've kind of like got this blur effect on them, which makes them look really cool.
Yeah, I think the combat itself still looks really fascinating, really awesome. Like, and it fits that whole cyber look. You know, it does look very like futuristic in the way that they might attack you and all that.
You have this like this cable that you can use,
yes.
And you're kind of like holding, and you
like
imagine you're going to strangle someone with it, but then you kind of just like lasso it out and you just dismember everyone. Like their limbs just go flying because you kind of like cut through them like a hot knife through butter, you know? So,
but back to the character quickly, also like in terms of the dialogue, it looks like that you will have with the world and how you interact with the world will be significantly different based on what class you are.
Of course.
Because it shows that, you know, you might be able to persuade someone if you're in corporate or persuade if you're a street thug or whatever.
Yeah, well,
and that's interesting to see what they're going to do with that, like how different the story ending is or how different the actual beats throughout the whole story are going to be different based on your original choice.
Yeah, well, just to clarify Sam's comments.
That's pretty clarified.
It's not really. At character creation, you make a choice about your backstory, right? Which is something you've done in a lot of RPGs. There are 3 different options, and they do inform the kind of dialogue options you have. They inform, you know, even stuff like how quickly you generate street cred, which is like, you know, how the price at which you're able to purchase things from vendors relates to street cred. I'm sure the system goes quite deep, but making those choices at the beginning of the game does affect your character in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
But certainly the dialogue options we saw gave you a lot of different choices for how to approach situations. You could go in all guns blazing. You could be like, fuck you and blow the head off. You could refuse entire quest lines if you wanted to. It's all entirely up to you as you're playing through it. And yeah, there are those sort of like, you know, dice roll checks based upon your skills and your build and whatever else. So
yeah, but like all in all, like It looks phenomenal. It really does. The only thing I would say is the first time I did see the Cyberpunk, trailer when we went behind closed doors last year, there was a real wow kind of blockbuster factor to it. This one was not like that, and I think when this trailer does finally come out,
which I think it's coming out in August, by the way. I think this trailer's coming in August.
Just be prepared that it's not about that. It's about showing under the hood, like how this game works, how you can kind of traverse the world.
You do get to ride a motorcycle at some point throughout, which is pretty rad.
Yeah.
You'll walk up to it and the handles kind of like fold out, and you're like, oh yeah.
Like GTA too, in terms of like you can just kind of drive around the world. There's different radio stations
There are,
and stuff.
yep.
So that was kind of cool too.
They did confirm there are no loading screens in this game at all. Unless you fast travel. There are fast travel options, but you can just go the entire way without ever encountering a loading screen if you like.
Yeah.
Character customization was a big thing here as well. You did get to see quite a few character customization options, both in terms of your stats and how you're building your character, but also like your actual visual customization. You do visit a vendor at some point. You can buy a different jacket. You can buy different shirt, shoes, like short pants or whatever. So that visual presentation is there.
And it also affects your actual gameplay itself in terms of how strong you are and all this kind of stuff.
Because those items have stats on them as well. Yeah. So that was really cool. They did also confirm that you can actually play through the entire game without killing a single enemy, which I know really appeals to a lot of people. They love that style of playthrough.
That whole passive thing.
Yeah, there was one area where you're actually stealthing up behind a guard, and then you kind of like get him in a grip, and then you have the choice, like should you kill him or should you like do a non-lethal takedown?
Even the bosses.
Well, that's the case. Yeah, you'd be able to non-lethal.
You don't have to kill them.
Exactly right. But you could actually throw this guy in the chokehold. You could actually throw him down a garbage chute as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So look, I think all of that was really awesome. The big reveal though was Keanu. Now I guess we'll pause and say that if you want to go into Cyberpunk completely cold with no information about it whatsoever, stop the video now because this might be a spoiler. But it's sort of not really a spoiler because like he actually appears in character customization, like the very start of the game you encounter Keanu. So if you want to hear a little bit about that and what that means, then stick around. If not, then let's end the video here because we're just going to give wrap-up thoughts anyway.
Totally. But look, I mean, with
Keanu, sorry.
Okay, well, I was going to say quickly, Keanu, I originally thought was going to be just one of these like guys that jumps in and out of the game. He's not going to be very integral to the actual story, or just, it's like a cool little thing to see. But it seems like it's really going to be something that's every beat of the story you can expect, Keanu to be doing something.
Keanu is not a cameo character.
No.
He is one of the major characters in this game. And he lives in your head, by the way. He's sort of like, it seems it's unclear if he's haunting you or if he's like living in some AI world and he's connected to you. It's unclear. But he appears in many cutscenes throughout this demo. And he kind of is like flickering like a hologram at times. And you look there and he's there, and then you look away and look back and he's gone. He's not a person per se in what we saw. Maybe he is at some other part of the game, but certainly at this point in the game, he is living in our brains, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool, man.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
And look, every scene he was in, he wasn't kind of dominating the scene. He was just like throwing lines ever so often and like kind of walking away coolly into the distance.
It kind of felt like if you played Arkham Knight when Joker was in your head, like he just sort of like pop out with this random comment and you knew he wasn't real, but it felt kind of real. It was like that. So look, that just looks awesome as well. And to know that it's not just some like one time, oh yeah, we got Keanu for like one cutscene and then it was just a marketing trick. To make him so integral to the game is just, it changes the whole flavor of that game, like completely.
Yeah, but really, I mean, if we were to wrap it up, like it looks
incredible. Like, yeah, I mean,
it looks like it's easily a contender. I know I'm saying this early, but like Game of the Year stuff, like
Fallout 76 is going to be Game of the Year, guys. Trust me on this.
It just looks so polished, so it's so thoughtful. Every single area you look at, there is so much time, effort, thought into it. It looks like it's groundbreaking and all in all, and most importantly, it looks super fun. Like, I'm very excited for this.
I really do believe that CD Projekt Red are trying to create the best RPG ever made. And I'm telling you, like, they're having a good swing at it. I'm not going to say they're going to do it. I'm going to say that they're in the running from what I've seen. From the two gameplay slices I've seen, from the pedigree of this studio and their reputation, what they've done in the past, I really think that these guys have a good shot at that throne, at that title. So, absolute full support for what they're doing. Love those guys so much. We will keep you updated if there's any more news. Look forward to the release of the trailer at some point in August, I believe. Hopefully it'll be before then, but for now...
And all I want to say is, Cyberpunk, you're breathtaking. again.
You are breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.